something
Places
with
like
it.
Wells Fargo and Chase and all that. It's like an awful lot of hoops to get them compliant, that's the trouble.
Are you ready, young lady?
You bet.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call this common council meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk call roll, please?
Brown.
Here.
Evans. Foodie.
Here.
Broughton. Here. Shanks.
Here.
Schuster. Here. Mayor Wagner.
Here. First item of business is agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Shanks, second by Gregg. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have a motion to approve minutes of previous meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brown, second by Shanks. Or second.
Foodie.
Oh.
Foodie and Schuster.
Wow.
We just throw
I
our
lost
voices
my
like
place
that.
here. Paul, I can't go back. I don't know what happened. There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes of previous meetings. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of intervening meetings.
I'll make that motion with one change. CDA, we need to add that Morose was present at that meeting. His name is there making motions, but he is not labeled as being present.
Good call. Is there a motion to that amendment and approval of the intervening meetings? Motion by Brown, is there a second? Second by Schuster. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we have communications, approved payments of bills, checks for $798,515.66. I don't know what I keep doing here, I keep losing it. What are you punching me in that? Old school, there you go. Vouchers, there are none. Electronic transfers of $188,146.58. Is there a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Motion by Grattan, second by Evans. Any further discussion, questions, or comments?
I have a couple questions, and this is just, I don't know what these things are or why we're paying for them this way. Dodgeland Storage, apparently we're paying for Christmas decorations to be stored there. Is that what that is? Anyone know DPW? And I thought that was partly what the garage was supposed to be here for. I don't know if we can check into that. That's for a
What?
year, but.
I wasn't aware of that.
Weed killer. It seems odd we're buying it at this time of year from two different places, and I'm wondering what weeds we're killing. The cold is killing me, so. Fastenal, we have a, it says supplies, we bought a shop vac, I'm just wondering where it's from. Salome Supplies, we bought a vacuum of some kind or another. Don't know who, don't know what. I've asked Sean to check into these. And then storage cabinets, we bought them from Uline. Uline is not cheap, and so I'm wondering for whom, for what purpose. There are places we need industrial, but I'm wondering, so.
I think the vacuum able to use there.
I was under the understanding with the new salt shed, they would have more than ample room to store the Christmas decorations now.
We haven't had a public works meeting for several months, and so that's new to me too.
Okay. I don't know who, I'm guessing it's coming from Public Works, but just
Well-
in the essence of keeping that rather than just the, yep, go ahead. Let's find out what we're
All those
spending.
cabinets together is $4,000.
Yep.
4,417.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap.
Maybe we're at the next finance meeting, we're gonna have to discuss the limits again. That's always been an item of discussion there as far as, got a good department head that keeps track of things and whatever and justifies it, but sometimes that limit is a little strong for people to go out on a spending spree, so.
I'm not looking
And
big.
it's per transaction, So like what you said, that $2,500 limit for a department head to spend, he can buy it in 2, 3 different locations or
Just
times. And
transactions.
whatever, so. Appreciate you picking that up. I'll direct Chairman Grattan to do some investigation on that. At no time was it ever discussed that we were storing the Christmas decorations off premise. I mean, that definitely factors into how many more we buy then if we're gonna be paying that kind of cost for storage or what have you, so. And kind of curious they wouldn't approached you on that, so,
And that's just fine.
yeah. We do not have storage room enough in that garage to store all the Christmas decorations, I will tell you that, Cheryl. I see the potted plants from uptown are there. I don't see the benches, or are the benches still out? Benches might be out on the streets yet or whatever, but, you know, this was for small overflow. We weren't anticipating storing all the Christmas decorations here, but I was under the impression once the new salt shed went up, they had the rest of that building to be able to store those decorations in. And,
What about the basement here?
well, there's plenty, but it's kind of a hassle, I suppose, hauling them down through the inside and whatever. It's probably not.
Is there an entrance back there? Is there a door back there
Yeah.
they come in?
Well, yeah, if you go around the building, but there's no driveway to get up to it or anything like that, so.
What in the world? Not yet, huh?
Well, maybe the smaller things could go down there.
Anyway.
It's just an option.
Yeah,
It was just.
good point, though. There is ample storage down there. There's no
I
way
was
about
gonna say, you
that.
got 2 of them, so.
Yeah, to the tune of $1,800, I can pay 2 guys for walking through this building several times to take them down there, if that's the case.
That is something that I always look at our numbers and I see weed killer and bug killer spraying for bugs and I'm like, okay, I can stomp a spider. What bugs are we killing every month? And I'm not saying not to protect our buildings from things, but let's be cognizant of what we're doing.
Well, I'm sure some of that weed killer and stuff like that, that's probably the end of the season specials or
Sure.
pre-season
Sure.
specials or something like that.
Yep.
But good catch. We should be more cognizant of looking at how those dollars are spent. So, yes, Dave, you look into it, would you please?
I will.
Okay. Anything else before we approve the payment of bills? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Grattan,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Got me off, please, sorry. Brown.
Aye.
Foodie.
Aye.
Shanks. Aye. Schuster. Aye.
Payment of bills have been approved. Public appearance and citizens' comments regarding agenda items. Let the record show there's nobody in attendance. Reports of officials, mayor. Attorney report, communication regarding Slayton versus the city of Juneau. As you know, we had a lawsuit there against the city, or a projected lawsuit against the city there for sidewalk assessment on Leonard Avenue.
Right, so essentially what happened is the Slaytons filed a suit against the city contesting 2 things. They contested their curb and gutter assessment and their sidewalk assessment, but basically, as we got into the lawsuit, it turned out they weren't really contesting the curb and gutter, but they were very aggressively contesting their sidewalk assessment. And initially, they at one point brought a summary judgment motion where they tried to get summary judgment directed in their favor. And as we went along, we clarified for them that they had no case on the sidewalk because a sidewalk is essentially deemed to benefit a property. So in this particular case, they were contending, among other things, that they had a special needs child and the sidewalk was very difficult for that special needs child to navigate, even though you would think that might be an easier thing than being in the street. They said when you looked at their unique circumstances, they shouldn't have to pay the sidewalk assessment. We did more research, found a number of cases that say no, a sidewalk is a special thing where all you have to do is show it's on the property, it's deemed to be a benefit. Kind of like if you had a deck on your house is more valuable if you have a deck, it's just a nicer feature to have. So too it's viewed that with a sidewalk, it's a better feature to have, it's an improvement even if you don't want to pay for it. And so they went on and on. We ended up spending a lot of money defending the lawsuit even though we knew we were going to win. But then the day before trial, they said, would it be okay if we dismissed our lawsuit against the city? My reaction was, well, I've done a huge amount of preparation and work at this point. You should have come to this conclusion a year before. But I can't really say, no, we're not going to accept that, because if we went to trial, we're going to spend more money and get to the same place. So we ended up agreeing to a stipulation for dismissal with prejudice, meaning they can never file this again. So we got as good a result as we possibly could have, which is the same result I believe we would have had if we went to trial. But what was extremely frustrating is that we didn't need to get to that point and have it settled the day before trial. The other thing is, had we gone to trial, it looks like the newspaper generally picks up anything that the city of Juneau does in terms of litigation, and so we would have had the favorable publicity that, yes, there was this lawsuit and the city prevailed, and people don't have a good basis to contest their sidewalk assessments. But because we didn't have a trial, we don't get that favorable publicity. So I suggested to the mayor and to Sean that, look, we ought to point this out at the city council meeting, that if people do try and contest their sidewalk assessments, the net result is they're likely to spend a lot of their own money if they hire an attorney on their attorney, plus the city is going to end up spending a lot of money as well, but they're not going to prevail. And so I just wanted to point that out, that going forward, people really shouldn't be spending a lot of money contesting their sidewalk assessments, even if they disagree with the sidewalk, because the law is not in their favor. And one of those cases is the City of Beaver Dam case. That's one of the best known cases. Then there was another case more recently, about 10 years ago. And all these cases say that you will not be successful if you're contesting your sidewalk assessment. Now, curb and gutter, we still had an excellent argument on curb and gutter, but there you do have to make a little more of a showing at the public hearing to show that the benefits of the curb and gutter exceed the costs of the curb and gutter. Now, you could have shown that. You did put together a pretty good record on that. But they weren't really contesting that part of it, which is where they would have had a better argument, certainly, than the sidewalk part of it. But the net result was, it was very frustrating that we had to put all that time into it, ended up with the right result. But I think it's good for the public to know that even if you don't like a sidewalk, your ordinance says you do that in all streets, and the statute also supports that. And so people will not be successful when they contest that. So hopefully we won't end up in a situation like this where somebody files a lawsuit and we spend a lot of time and money, and then on the eve of trial they realize, oh yes, the law is against us. So that's what happened. In the end, it's a good result for the city, but it's frustrating that it got to that point. But we couldn't do anything about it, and when they agreed to settle, well, it's kind of like winning a game by a forfeit. You win, but you don't feel good about it either. You'd rather win playing whatever you're going to play. So, but that's what happened, and so now at least there's a public record, and so hopefully going forward we don't end up in that situation again. But unfortunately, we live in a country where you can file a suit even if you don't have much of a chance of winning, so that can happen, but hopefully going forward we won't run into this situation again.
Any questions or comments on that from the group? I guess I had a question, Andrew, on what kind of attorney represented them that would lead them up that trail and incorporate all kinds of cost to them as well, and then have nothing to show for it when it's all said and done.
Right. I wouldn't have wanted to be in his position where he has to have the difficult conversation with his client to say, look, we've done this, and now on the eve of trial I realize we don't have a strong case. That's the conversation I wouldn't want to have.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, Resolution 71, 2020. Whereas the mayor has diligently searched for individuals willing to give of themselves by serving on the Recreation Committee, and whereas the mayor wishes to make the following appointment: Jennifer White, Rec Committee 5 of 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau on this 9th day of February 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shanks.
Second.
Second by Schuster. Any further discussion?
Did she serve in the recreation in the past?
Her husband did.
Okay.
She will be filling the vacant spot of Jim Ingles. Jim Ingles was a long-time rec committee member, served the committee very well, and he has left the community and is living in Sun Prairie now. So, any other questions? Jenny is very active in the rec program with her kids, the basketball program in particular. She has 4 children, so yeah, she's very active in that respect. So, no further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Shanks. Aye. Schuster.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Moody.
Aye.
Groton.
Aye.
Resolution 71, 2020 is passed. I have nothing else to report. Clerk Treasurer.
Just 2 quick things. We are underway with our yearly financial audit. Today was the second day of that, so they plan on wrapping up with the city's portion tomorrow, and hoping to have a final report presented to us in May. After they wrap up here, they just need to wait for utility to be done, which they are beginning, I believe, the first week of March. They're going to begin utilities. And second thing, election is next week, Tuesday, February 16th. Polls open at 7 o'clock until 8 o'clock. We do have a Senate race, partisan primary Senate race, and we do have a statewide race for superintendent of schools. So get out and vote. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Sean. Moving on, any questions on the written reports? Building permit report, police department report, Juneau Fire and Rescue report, and the Juneau EMS report. No questions or comments. Moving on to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We have Jeanette, our library director. Welcome.
Good to be here. We were closed, we meaning the public library, for 2 weeks in January due to reduction in staff. So the last 2 weeks of January, we provided curbside service, and many patrons did take advantage of that. We will continue to promote our digital services and the ability for us to provide for you curbside if you're nervous about public spaces and still want to use the services at the library. We were able to provide additional services that we didn't provide when we first went curbside because we didn't understand in April of 2020 all these things we needed to do to keep the public safe. Quarantining our items and sanitizing daily. Now it's just part of our routine. So we did expand our curbside services to printing. If you had something that needed printed, you could email it to us and we would print it and then put it out in our curbside box. I'm happy to report that as of last week, we now have mobile printing capabilities. If you've been following some of my conversations monthly here, we have expanded our Wi-Fi capabilities to the parking lot. So in theory, you could pull up a document in your email and via Bluetooth send it to our printer in the library. It would print, and then we could bring that print job out to you in our curbside box. It's just black and white printing right now, and our charges are 20 cents a page for printing. So we're happy to have that capability now with the Bluetooth printer. And just speaking of digital offerings, we have switched and we no longer subscribe to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel paper copy. The library now has an iPad back in our periodical section where you can pull up the Milwaukee Journal and view it digitally. And we have a gentleman in the community that comes in every day and is willingly learning how to use a digital device that he's never used before. And every day comes in a little bit more confident in using this technology. So we're excited and we're willing to teach. So come on in and we'll show you how to access our digital items. Don't touch this. Because you were having problems with your own device. Come in and I'll teach
That
you.
looks much more alive. Look at all the buttons.
Oh, I know. Speaking of digital, we do have a lot of digital resources you can check out. Libby is an app that you can come in and I'll show you how to download an app. And you can access ebooks, e-audiobooks, and as of last week, this app also provides magazines. So you might go, oh, well, what magazines do you have? There are over 3,000 magazines you can access digitally. Here's just a few that we have paper copy in-house, and now you can check out National Geographic Kids digitally, HGTV, Family Handyman, and 3,000 other items digitally from your home. And so that is something that is exciting as well.
Is that app on,
Go ahead.
Is that app advertised on your website that you could go to your?
It is. If you go to our website, we do have a tab that says digital services, and it tells you what the app is called, how to find it in your app store, and then even directions on how to download it to your device. So it's very exciting. So we are moving in. The pandemic has kind of forced our hand to provide to you things digitally. So if you have questions, that's what we're here for at the library. Come in and ask them. Our Friends of the Juneau Public Library is a very active group, and they want in the month of February for you to know that you are loved and appreciated and that you are snow special. So if you have not come in, they have a patron appreciation gift for you. I bet you have no idea what it is. You can have that.
Geez, thank you.
Yes,
I miss-
all right.
I miss supper today.
Last but not least, we do have a guessing jar full of maybe the exact same thing that is in there. And you have until Saturday of this week to come in and guess how many are in this jar, and the winner will be announced, and you get to win the jar and everything in it. So, we are excited to see our patrons. We missed you when we were curbside only for 2 weeks, but we are now fully open to our patrons. So thank you for giving us a great job to do.
Don't forget your.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, it'll.
Any questions for our library director?
How did the reading program go for the month of January?
Do you know, that I just thought about that as I was walking back. Because we were closed for 2 weeks, we have extended that for an additional 2 weeks. And so those 2 gift baskets that I brought last month are still up for grabs. And you have this week to turn in your drawing ticket if you have read 3 books within the month of January and early February. Thank you, Cheryl. Do you got a ticket in the game? Is that why you're wondering?
No, I ended up having to work, so no time to read. I got one read, Jenna. I was happy for one. And good intentions.
Next, we have Plan Commission. David.
Plan Commission, Jeremy Knoll of Fox City Builders came in, presented a new Animix warehouse addition that will possibly take action this spring. Gave us the starting pictures of it and drawings we all had to look at. He was checking to see how that would fit what we thought, and he's going to come back with the finalized drawings when they have them. Review and we possibly approve the request for the conditional use permit for Zachary Ryan on 278 West Oak Grove Street. Property is zoned B3 and he's going to sell vehicles there. We put a stipulation on there that he can, once the fence is up, that he is going to put up to contain the vehicles that he's working on that are unregistered, not non-roadworthy, then he was able to sell those vehicles. Then he can sell the ones out front that he's worked on. We said there's no parking for him in the city streets for his clientele. He was allowed 10 to 15 vehicles on the property for sale. In that area that he has, that shouldn't cause too much any issues with him. It's large enough for that. And that was our meeting. So he's got his permit coming, and he's really changed the place. If you haven't driven by, go by and look at the building. He's redone the outside. It's got a new roof, repaired the roof damage that was in it from a fire. He's done concrete work inside, and he's going to service vehicles for anybody who wants it.
Any questions for Dave? Then we'll move on to finance. Cheryl.
We did meet. There were a couple of items that we did skip over or move to next month. Approve the 2020 budget amendments that we will be moving to next month in order to balance our budget for 2020. We did look at our financials for year end for this year, as of January 29, 2021, but for 2020. That was approved. Sean has done an awesome job of helping us get back in line and making sure we know what we're doing and where things are, and it's with a great deal of heart comfort that I say thank you, Sean. One of the items that was on our agenda was to approve city CDBG funds for Highland and Oak Street. At this point in time, we are not moving forward that at this time. There is a potential for some other things to happen in the future that we may apply for that at a later time, but not at this point in time. There was no action taken on that one. The other items that are on here, Dodge County is looking for us to help with some West Street road construction. We still need some other information from them, so that will be coming back with us as well. The rest of our items that we discussed are actionable items and will need this council's approval as well if you see fit as well. First one is our resolution 72-2020 to approve East Oak Grove Street Light Projects 2021. Whereas the Utility Commission has reviewed the need to convert a 480 transformer to a 240 transformer as well as some of the city street lights. And whereas the Utility Commission estimates the cost to be $3,293.63 as shown in Exhibit A. In 2020, the Utility Commission donated $1,800 to the city CDA for this project, which leaves an additional $1,493.63 owing. Whereas the Finance Committee recommends to approve converting of the transformer and the streetlights by using the money set aside in the contingency account not to exceed $1,493.63. And whereas the Common Council authorizes the city clerk treasurer, to amend the city budget to reflect the use of $1,493.63. And from the City Hall contingency account. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 9th day of February 2021. I move for passage of Resolution 72, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Brown, second by Schuster. Further discussion.
The labor breakdown that's on here, Nick believes that it may be less than that because of some changes in people's benefits, but it will not exceed the $373.35 for labor.
I guess the only thing I'd point out, Sean, the way this is worded, it looks like we're assisting in the cost of converting that transformer. That is not the case. The conversion of the transformer prompted this project, but this is strictly going for the lights. The utility commission will be footing the cost of the transformer and what have you. That's not part of these costs. Strictly going from the high pressure sodium lights to the LED lights. It also includes a stretch on Mill Street as well as the Oak Grove Street. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Aye.
Schuster,
Aye.
Evans, Flutie,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Shanks.
Resolution 72, 2020 is passed.
Resolution 73, 2020 has to do with our contracts that we service Town of Oak Grove and Town of Hubbard for fire and emergency purposes. We do have a contract with them. At this point in time, this contract is just for 1 year is what we're looking to go. The purpose for that is we all know that we need to replace certain emergency vehicles sometimes. And these towns help with that and pay a percentage of it. This year we did not get to them in a timely manner to get to ask them. We would like to continue to do those contingency funds every year even though we're not purchasing, so that when it does come time, we're not saying to them, by the way, you need to increase your budget by this huge amount, and it would help everybody. So this is our contract purely for 1 year at this point in time. Approved fire contracts for Town of Oak Grove and Town of Hubbard, whereas the Public Safety Committee has reviewed the proposed contracts for the Town of Oak Grove and the Town of Hubbard. Whereas the Public Safety Committee and Finance Committee recommend approval of both proposed contracts for 1 year, as shown in Exhibit A and B respectively. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 9th day of February 2021. I move for passage of Resolution 73, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Brown, second by Flutie. Further discussion. Pretty much what we've done in the past. As Cheryl said, we just kind of got caught in a year where we weren't able to submit it by the time Town of Oak Grove completed their budgets. No other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Aye.
Flutie,
Aye.
Evans, Groton,
Aye.
Shanks.
Aye.
Schuster.
Aye.
Resolution 73, 2020 is passed.
Resolution 74, 2020, it has to do with the UTV and a trailer for the fire department. Currently, the one that we have is older, needs to be replaced as one of those pieces of equipment. The power that's behind it needs to be upgraded, and so this is this resolution for that. Resolution 74, 2020, approved purchase of UTV and trailer for the fire department. Whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed a request to purchase a UTV and trailer for the fire department. Whereas the Public Safety Committee provided a cost estimate for the purchase of the UTV and trailer. Whereas the Finance Committee recommends to approve the purchase of the UTV and trailer not to exceed $22,000 using funds from the Fire Department Equipment Replacement Fund 860. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 9th day of February 2021. I move for passage of Resolution 74, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Brown, second by Grattan. Any further discussion?
We did question why this one when we know you want a fire truck at some point in time, and this is money that would be for that. And, the reasoning behind it and the explanations were solid, so.
Very good. Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Evans, Udi,
Aye.
Shanks,
Aye.
Schuster.
Aye.
Resolution 74, 2020 is passed.
This next one, on the first side, we may not seem to have been so blessed, but we have been blessed. We have officers that have been safe, and that is huge to us. So now I've lost mine here. Thank you. I will get back here. Here we go.
Head it over.
In the first situation that we had here in Juneau, people think that bad things don't happen in small towns, or that could never happen in our little city. It does happen in our little city. We have had a high-speed chase in our little city now. We have had an officer that was hit by the occupant of the vehicle. Thankfully, our officer was not hurt. That officer was actually hit twice in that process, and that person is now being prosecuted for multiple things. However, that does leave us with a squad car that's terribly damaged, and we'll need some help and some looking at. In the process of looking at a different squad car, our chief of police and one other of the officers went over to Ewald to look at that new vehicle that we looked to purchase, and on the way home, someone ran into them coming out behind a box truck that they could not even see the officers. That vehicle, the Durango, which is fairly new. I don't know, Sean, has it been deemed, either one of them deemed yet?
The 2000 Ford Explorer, which is the first one that was caught up in the chase, has been deemed totaled. They did give us cash value, so these numbers can change if we need to. They did give us a cash value for the vehicle of $19,300 roughly, and then an additional $10,100 to transfer equipment and purchase new equipment that can't be transferred and so forth. So for the 2017 Ford Explorer, we do have a net settlement of $28,513.75. Within this packet, there is a quote from Ewald for a new vehicle of about $36,000. But then again, you have to include that $10,000 to transfer equipment and purchase new equipment that cannot be replaced. So all in all, you're looking probably at an additional $18,000 that would need to come out of funds from somewhere.
So the insurance is not replacement value?
Correct. Yes, and that was my mistake at finance. It was.
So the second vehicle, the Durango, is yet to be determined what's happening with that, but in the meantime, the city of Beaver Dam has graciously allowed us to use one of their squads on the different vehicles that they have had, as we were down to one, and we still need to service our community, but in the process, Resolution 75-2020 comes to hit our table here.
And Cheryl, if I can just interrupt you real quick.
Certainly, go ahead.
The second one, the 2019 Dodge Durango, that was damaged. It was damaged by an individual that is covered with insurance. So this resolution is more just in case that we need to act on an emergency to get another police car or something like that, but pretty sure that the second vehicle will be covered by the person's insurance, so.
Approved squad cars purchase, police department. Whereas on January 30th, a squad car was damaged during a car chase and was deemed totaled by the insurance company. And whereas on February 4th, another squad car was hit and damaged on a return trip of testing a new squad car. And whereas due to the importance of these two vehicles, the replacement of the vehicles is considered an emergency purchase and has bypassed the Public Safety Committee and the Finance Committee. And whereas it is recommended to the Common Council that due to the urgent nature and the lack of insurance recovery information at the time, the purchase of two new police squads be approved at a price not to exceed $50,000 each, less any insurance recovery money, and that the monies needed be removed from the general fund balance. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 9th day of February 2021. I move for passage of Resolution 75-2020.
Motion by Brown, second by Schuster. Further discussion. Now, we were under the impression we had full coverage up to $50,000, and that was.
That was my mistake of misreading the policy.
We can change the policy? We can get it changed?
We can change it to full replacement value. Your premiums are gonna increase. I mean, we have our major purchases like fire engines and ambulances on full replacement value, where your normal day-to-day vehicles are just that cash value of what it's worth at that moment in time.
Do you know how much it would push that up?
I don't. I can look into
Would you do some research for us?
for all or for
At least the 3 police.
I would
Or
say
squad
quad
cars.
cars, yeah. Yeah, that, quad cars.
God help us if our DPW and our utility, although that's a different one, so. DPW.
Also, the city of Mayville has also allowed Dave to use one of their extra vehicles too, so it's not like we do not have replacement vehicles at this time. We've got
Are we
two,
paying anything for using them right now, or
excuse me?
is there an agreement, something for paying for the use?
Beaver Dam said if there's anything, if this Tahoe or whatever they're driving, they said, if anything breaks down, you need anything fixed, send me the bill. And they were very gracious
Just fill
about
the
it.
tank up when you return.
Yeah, that's pretty much the agreement. I guess the Beaver Dam, it was just kind of an extra vehicle that was sitting around there. It's all fully equipped with everything they need, and Mayville's the same story. That one's like a Explorer too, I guess. I think it's an Explorer. I saw it sitting down there. That's the only thing that's different on it is that it's got Mayville tags on the side of it rather than. But both of them have been very gracious, and I guess I give our police chief credit for establishing the kind of relationship he has with the neighboring communities, that when something like this happens, they'll reach out to you and offer something like this, you know, so that's
Awesome.
very thankful for that, so. But I guess I feel kind of uncomfortable about this open-end resolution here. I understand we gotta act, but I'm thinking that at least finance should be approving when he gets to the bare tax on what the vehicle's gonna cost, you know, that it just isn't an open check to go out and buy whatever we want there.
Well, it says not to exceed 50,000.
I know, but.
But
You
I
could end
know-
up spending $100,000.
Yeah,
Well, and I understand that, but I also understand that, you know, as far as when we bought the Durango, I think we paid $56,000 to have that, when we first purchased that with all the pieces on it.
That's you do, yeah.
And I don't believe this 50,000 from where I'm sitting is out of line for what he's asking, knowing what we purchased for that
The
one.
one quote, the quote was what, 28 for the Explorer?
Something like that. Anyway, you're concerned, Dan, so.
well, just like that we have some input on this, I guess, before we just pick up vehicles. So,
And he's in contact with me in regards to.
yeah.
I mean, personally, I think the most we're gonna pay out is that $18,000.
Okay. All right, any other discussion, questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Aye.
Schuster,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Shanks.
Aye.
Resolution 75, 2020 has been passed.
The last thing that I have is we will be also looking at the borrowing plan for 2021 for capital projects as was approved in our budget. And Justin from Baird will be coming to present our options that we have for that borrowing, number of years, rate, interest rate, that type of information. And we'll be forthcoming with a meeting with him. He did send preliminary information to us already, so we have some of that in hand to consider.
Very good. Any other questions for Cheryl? Anything else to add, Cheryl?
I don't, that's all.
Personnel Committee, Paul.
We did meet. We discussed the 2021 holiday schedule. The reason for this is both Christmas and New Year's Day fall on, or New Year's Eve, right? Yeah, they fall on Saturdays, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, or Fridays.
Eve on Friday.
Fridays,
Saturday.
thank you, yes. And then, so we decided to move the Christmas Day holiday to the day before Christmas Eve, and we moved the New Year's Day holiday to Monday, yeah. So one's falling on a Friday, one's falling on a Monday, correct?
Friday, Monday,
Right?
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday for
Friday,
Christmas,
Monday.
Friday, Monday for New Year's. I wish the actual dates got put on here instead of just the days of the week instead of just the dates. It would help me out. So we moved those dates. We did meet in closed session. When we reconvened, we discussed Sean Hart's job he's been doing, and Sean was looking to see if we could do something for him. Knowing where the budget was, he wasn't necessarily asking for a pay raise, just something along the lines of being able to work from home a couple days a week and a little bit extra vacation. There is a resolution in effect for that. Let me get back to that screen. You want to push a button for me? I won't my wife. Resolution 76, 2020. Approve clerk treasurer additional benefits. Whereas the Personnel Committee has reviewed a request from the Clerk Treasurer, Sean Hart, for additional benefits, and whereas the Personnel Committee recommends that he may work from home no more than 2 days per week, and an additional 3 days of vacation for a total of 13 days of vacation per year until the 5-year anniversary increase. And whereas the Personnel Committee will review again at the March 2021 Personnel Committee meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 9th day of February 2021. I move for passage of Resolution 76, 2020.
Second.
And then the part about reviewing, basically that's just going to come down to the, not the vacation part, but the working from home 2 days a week to see how things are operating, with Sean out of the office, 1 or 2 days a week potentially. The conversation with Sean was he's got meetings so often that this is a potential, chance that he might be working from home 1 day or possibly even 2 days a week. It's not like it's going to be a, he's going to spend most of his time at home type situation, so.
Motion by Brown, second by,
Motion by Shanks.
or motion by Shanks, second by
Ron.
Brown. Any further discussion?
I just made a few phone calls to different employees just to find out if anybody else is working from home. Sean, you are doing an excellent job and everything. I just asked for curiosity if it's not a COVID thing, he's asking just for up to 2 days. And I found out no one else is working from home other than during the COVID. I don't know. You're just granting it for one employee and not being here during City Hall hours. I don't know how everybody else feels about it. And then the 3 days vacation, is that just to bring them up to like a level of what other employees in that position are getting, or?
Yes,
Just
basically at the time Sean applied there, he was told point blank that there was no negotiating on his vacation. And since that, to get qualified people for other positions, we've kind of broke that rule and bent a little bit, so he feels that he should be able to negotiate that part, which he did with the personnel committee.
So it is kind of leveling it to what other positions.
Well,
are.
he's still not caught up to what some of the other ones had.
That's what I want to know.
Right, yeah, he's still behind with some of the other ones that have been hired after him
Right.
received, so.
And like I said, I was just making the phone calls to find out what the justification of it was. It's not that Sean's not doing a good job, he is. I just wanted to know what the justification of it was, and I'm still kind of stuck on the 2 days per week. People come here during City Hall hours, and I know City Hall was closed, but.
And these were all things that were discussed at committee level. Paul, you want to address anything?
Well, the biggest part, and Sean presented this to us, is, he could come in here and ask for a big pay raise, right? He deserves it. He's done a great job. He got us out of the giant hole that we were in previous before he was here. And he's helped, tremendously with all the COVID stuff that's been going on. And instead of asking for that, basically what he asked for was the ability to start his day an hour earlier and work a little bit later on the days he's working from home, because he won't have that travel time. He'll be able to get going a little bit earlier, as well as, like I mentioned before, he's got meetings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some Thursdays, some Fridays, so the opportunity for him to actually work from home is actually relatively slim. It's not gonna be like he's gonna be doing this, all the time. So it kind of gives him that little bit, of us giving him, that appreciation factor. We discussed how is it gonna happen here, what's gonna happen here with Pam and Veronica. That's the reason that we put that contingency in here, that we're gonna review this in 2 months to see how things are playing out. Is there any issues? Do we notice that there's, one person stepping on another person's head, because Sean's not here to be the boss? That's the kind of stuff that we're gonna look at in 2 months to see if we need to, go back and have Sean back in the office, permanent type situation. So it's not like we're just throwing this out there, against the wall. We're putting something in place to make sure there's checks and balances for it, so.
And that's all I've asked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So basically it's, it's a way of giving Sean extra,
Some perks.
perks without actually having to break our bank to, pay him, a little extra money type
Yeah,
situation.
and I was just gathering information.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The concern was, Jane, you are a public employee, and you serve the public, that is your job. And so that question was asked of him of how do you plan to meet those requirements of being
Well, and
here for the.
Paul also brought up other concerns that.
Yep.
We're there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so,
And
So-
Sean, you also discussed that you would, the day you take off, would not leave just one person here.
Correct.
So if that helps you, Jane, too, that the day that he elects to work from home, there'd be at least 2 people here.
but that may be the concern.
and we'll address that in March, so.
And there's been, and not to sit and negotiate, but we discussed in regards to having one specific day so everybody knows, okay, well, Sean won't be here. Need to meet with them, do it day before, day after, whatever, and I've already spoken with my staff in regards to that. Hey, if you guys want to take a vacation on that day that I'm not going to be here, let me know. It's not a problem. I can come in. It's not a set, well, I'm going to be at home this day no matter what happens, so.
But every week you can be informing the employees when you're planning on staying home that day.
Correct. Yeah, they would know. It wouldn't be a surprise to them.
Anything else?
Roll call vote, please.
Shanks.
Aye.
Brown.
I,
Evans.
Aye.
Foodie.
Aye.
Groton.
Aye.
Schuster.
Resolution 76, 2020 is passed.
That, I believe, is everything for personnel.
Okay, moving on, we'll go to public safety.
All right, we had a meeting, Chief Dave Beal brought in a monthly report in his year-end report. Total incidents, he had 3,133 incidents. 636 were traffic stops, 402 were ordinance violations, and 1,018 were business and building checks. So that's pretty compared to previous years. Was a little short because he did hire 2 new officers last year, 2020. EMS also brought in there. Total calls for 2020 was 370, it was down 140 calls from 19. And then a total of 519 calls. Dan also stated that they received that UV light we talked about a month ago to clean the ambulance. He's been using that, it's working real well. He said nobody has come to borrow it yet, but it is out to borrow if any other county wants to use it in the county, any ambulances or fire trucks or anything. And their fundraiser for the All Pulse machine has been very receptive. One business has already purchased one of them, which is a $14,000 unit. So they already got one, and they have raised $6,500 for a second one from donations from 8 businesses. And the mayor expressed that he had very well written letter that he put out to these businesses to donate money to it. It's working out very well. And then the police chief said his calls, there were monthly calls for a total of 9 calls for November, December. In the year-end report, there was 74 calls for 2020. This is up 12 from 2019. 25 calls were in the city of Juneau and 28 were in the town of Oak Grove. And then we have discussed buying the new UTV, which Cheryl did with finance. It's an older unit. It's 2004, it's underpowered and suspension. So they decided to get a new UTV. And also need a trailer for that also, a bigger trailer. And then they talked about the condition fund. About the new trucks, like the new ladder is 20 years old, and a new ladder would be $1 million. And they talked about they can refurbish it for about half that, for 500,000, so that might be an option when it comes down to that. And we talked about the service contracts for Town of Hubbard and Town of Oak Grove. And that was pretty much our meeting.
Any questions for John from Public Safety? Okay, moving on, Public Works.
We did not meet, but we'll meet this month.
Cable TV, Jane?
Well, we reviewed quite a few things. City Hall report with Sean to cover potential topics like tax issues, licensing issues, election issues, and just to do a program on what the school's upcoming building plans are. Create a YouTube channel for the city and post city meetings onto it, so you're not stuck to watching it only at 2 o'clock. You can view meetings at any time. And record a candidate interviews. We were very happy with the 2020 budget. And we also asked for future cable TV ideas to have like a scrolling message board that just scrolls across the top, and then you can get more information on it. It's easier to find information. And it could be used for like information about paying taxes. And that same information would be put on the cable or channel's Facebook page. And that was cable TV.
Any questions for Jane? Moving on, CDA. We did have a meeting this last month. We went over the plans with Animix in regards to their expansion. We also talked about the auto pet care expansion, though that wasn't on the agenda, but the same builder and the same salesman or designer was here, and he offered that up. The CDA did overwhelmingly approve the Animix addition as well as the planning commission, so all his hurdles have cleared, so next month it'll probably be reviewing the auto pet care products edition and warehouse. Anything else, John, that we talked about that?
I think that's about it, yeah.
Any questions? Sean and I did meet with Animix officials today, 4:30 this afternoon, and talked about what we could possibly do for them. Animix does not fall into the newly created Kid 4 district, so we're trying to be creative on how we can help them out in other ways if we don't want to go through the expense of expanding and redistricting our present TID district. I explained to them that their property was in one of the earlier TIDs that were closed out. So anyway, we met with rep from Thrive and the CEO for finance. We just had a short meeting, and we really didn't walk away with any answers, but at least we've got someplace to go anyway. We want to make them feel like they're important in our community, because they are a nice industry that doesn't ask for much and what have you, and if they're gonna add tax increment through the city, we certainly want them to know that they're appreciated. That's what the real purpose of our meeting was. Moving on then, rec committee.
We met. Our new rec director, Seamus, is doing a pretty good job. He's been filing for some grants to get a updated playground. So far, he has received a $1,000 grant from Walmart and a $2,000 grant from Alliant, and he's still waiting to hear backward from the Campbell's grant, which could possibly be up to about $50,000, I believe is what he said. The other things we did were we reviewed the rentals that we have so far booked for the first half of 2021. Came up with a couple different ideas that we're going to continue looking at to possibly get more renters in there, as well as Jason White is coming back to run the bar. He'll be doing that to work off part of the money he makes, going back to work off his debt with the city. I believe it's a 40-10-50 split, correct, Sean?
Correct.
Okay. And then, other than that, winter programs, cookies, bingo, basketball, all that has been going well. And yeah.
Any questions from Paul? Moving on, utility commission report?
Yeah, we had a meeting on February 1st. We approved a community contribution of $700 to the Juneau Police Department Youth Program. Nick Gallman reported that his crew has been helping other city departments with snow removal. And they've been doing, the city employees have been doing a good job getting our streets cleared in this weather, so I give them kudos for that. He supplied the quote for the upgrade on the East Oak Grove Street lights that we took action on earlier. Poles are still being replaced on the trail to the wastewater treatment plant, but slowly due to the winter weather. He showed us a drawing of what the new digger derrick will look like. It is expected to be delivered in July. And the current digger derrick is listed on the Wisconsin Surplus auction site. Nick also expressed concern about material and equipment availability in case of emergencies. He gave the example that lead time for a new transformer, if it had to be replaced, is 32 weeks. And Tim Gasner reported that the clogging issues at lift station number 2 seem to be rectified, and we thank the affected customers for their attention in helping resolve this issue. The SCADA computer at the wastewater treatment plant failed. It is budgeted to be replaced using monies from the DNR replacement fund. Tom Unke is currently working on drafting a contract with Sensient for review. This is important as Sensient is the major supplier to the treatment plant. Public notices were posted that lead was found in some homes. The notice was published in the paper and is on the utility website. And Tim informed the committee that the DNR will require polyphosphate be added to our water because of corrosiveness. He suggested that we could eliminate adding fluoride to the water supply and use the existing scales and pumps to add polyphosphate instead. This would save the cost of purchasing more pumping equipment. However, there's a city ordinance requiring that fluoride be added to our water. MSA continues to work on the wastewater treatment plant upgrade, and the commission was informed that the city is moving forward with the Highland Street project. That's it.
Anything to add, Cheryl?
I don't. Other than flushable lakes are not flushable. I'll just keep saying it. Tim says, hey, help them out. They are not flushable, folks. They do not decompose the way toilet tissue does.
So are they starting on the city ordinance change to make a change in adding, making it
No, we
mandatory?
just had a discussion about whether fluoride should be required or not, and I think he's gonna do some more research into it. He's gonna research on the costs and on what other communities around us are doing as far as
So
fluoride.
gathering information right there.
There is a potential it will come as a change in an ordinance, but at this point in time.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Do we have any old business today? New business. We have no bartender's license to be approved tonight. So last item of old business would be adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion by Jenks, second by Schuster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This meeting is adjourned.